From Cali to Tally, it's time to wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source, and this is Wake Up War Chant. Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hudjavandi and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What up? Here we go. Wake Up War Chant, part of the WarChant.com family. I'm Aslan. He's Corey. You already know that. We say the names at the beginning of the show, but thought I would just say that again because it just feels right. Corey, how are you, buddy? How do you feel?
I'm good, buddy. I'm a little tired. I'm not going to lie. Travel ball kind of beat the tar out of me on Sunday. My son's travel ball, just watching it. But I'm here. I'm here for the people. I'm here for the masses, giving them what they want. But yeah, 5 games in a day is pretty rough. That's
ridiculous, man. Is it a pitch count and all that kind of stuff?
They don't have a pitch count, but nobody was throwing more than maybe 3 or 4 innings. But what the problem was is the pool play was rained out on Saturday. So up here in Atlanta. So on Buford. So on Sunday, they did the pool play and then the elimination bracket round, and Brady's team kept winning. So they made it to the championship game. So they played 5 games, and then they lost the championship game 14-3. So it was all worth it.
How dare they? How dare they go out there?
Well, it's not that, but golly, we got up I just set my alarm for 6:50 on Sunday morning, and remember, it was spring ahead day, so it was really 5:50.
Yeah,
and so got to the park at 7:30 and left at 8:30 p.m. So nice 13-hour day.
Well, he'll be ready to play football for Willie Taggart at that rate, waking up that early.
Yeah, no, that was the chase. That was their version. That's a 10-year-old baseball version of the chase.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I kind of wish it wasn't such a busy weekend of stuff to talk about because I'm in the midst of a Game of Thrones binge. So I figured I'd join most of society and catch up on that show, or at least get involved. I've never seen it before, so I'm on season 4 now, and I'm just trucking. I got a lot of good momentum, but I'm like, okay, well, they signed a quarterback. Everybody's stoked. They set a program record for conference victories in basketball. Everybody's stoked. And the baseball coach now stands alone in immortality, 2,000 wins, so everybody's stoked. So I got to come on here and be stoked. So let's.
Have you gotten to the Red Wedding yet?
What's the Red Wedding? I'm on season 4, episode 2.
Oh, I don't know. See, they all run together, so I don't know what season that is. You'll know it before. You'll know it. It's. I want to hear your opinion and thoughts afterwards, though.
Okay.
But that's enough Game of Thrones talk. But you wouldn't have to ask what the Red Wedding was if you had seen it already.
All right. Okay. Let's talk Game of Knowles. Where do you want to start, friend?
This guy, that's perfect.
Hoops, Diamond, or Miso Hornibrook?
Let's go with football since that was the latest thing to transpire. That happened on Sunday.
First off, I'm ashamed of myself for even going that route, going with the Miso Horny joke on Alex Hornibrook. At least 5 people have tried and failed to make that joke on the message boards, and it's become deleted and locked. I apologize to the listeners for me going that route, that low brow. It's ridiculous. It's not funny. Stop it, everybody. You're grown. You have mortgages and children and wives. Don't make that joke. It's just stupid. That said, he's here. Welcome to the fold. You say something positive because you know where I'm going to probably come from.
I guess my.
Okay,
I guess
we're both there.
Positive. If I was going to be positive about this, it's that you do have some depth.
Yes.
You don't have just a walk-on with no experience behind James Blackman. Other than that, if that kid plays meaningful reps, it's not good for the team in 2019, in my opinion. I think this is James Blackman's team. I can't imagine this kid is going to. I mean, just imagine what would happen to the locker room if this kid from Wisconsin, who wasn't even good at Wisconsin, really came in what? Because he's not on campus, right, until May?
At best. He'll graduate, I think, in May, so he's not going to be here till June.
So really bizarre that he'd come here. I mean, I'm sure he thinks he's going to have a legitimate shot, and he might, to beat out James Blackman. But imagine if he actually did. Like what the locker room vibe would be that this kid that nobody knows that came in from Wisconsin, that their boy, their guy, their leader, the different kind of skinny, got beat out by Alex I want to keep calling him Hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle.
Hornibrook. My man Hornibrook. But I will say this: if James Blackman does go down, okay, man, you feel a little better, right? That you got somebody that you know has been in big games and big moments. Now he doesn't have he ain't bringing the Wisconsin offensive line with him, which would be pretty awesome. But he has played. He's not going to be overwhelmed by any moments, which I don't know that you could say the same about the other two guys that might be backing up James Blackman. So in that regard, it's a good move to have you added depth. I don't think you added a difference maker because I don't think he's going to get a chance to be a difference maker because I think I don't think anything from this weekend changed the fact that James Blackman is the clear-cut number one.
I agree, and I hate to speculate, and I know sometimes I put you in tough situations where I ask you to speculate, and I take no joy in it. And I agree with you. I think it's largely a depth move, and in that case, I am a proponent of it. I think it's a good move, obviously. Get somebody with experience, been in situations. This is a funny exchange. Someone's like, yeah, he's not on the tribal council. By the way, use the promo code WarChant30 for 30 free days of access on warchant.com if you're not a member. Somebody's like, listen, no, he's not going to be the savior, but he's a guy that's been to war, and I feel good, that he'll give some depth. And then somebody replied like, oh, I didn't know he was a soldier. That's a good part of leadership as well. Thought that was funny. I delivered the joke in a really bad way, though. Anywho, back to the point. Yeah, for a depth purpose, I think it's pretty much as good as you're going to get when you're in Florida State situation, what you put on the field the last few years and things like that. But I will ask you this, what can they say to him, though? Because at the same time, Alex Hornibrook is not going to leave Madison. I guess there's some competition there that his job was maybe in jeopardy, but you don't leave that to come to Tallahassee to hold a clipboard. So, what sort of things do you think he would need to hear from Willie and Kendall Briles to be like, okay, that sounds cool enough. I trust that. I'll come down here. Because, you can say, listen, the job's open or, you will give you every chance you can to come down here and compete and win the job. But still, though, that's not certain. That's not, that's two birds in the bush or whatever as opposed to one in the hand. What would make you feel good if you're that kid to come down here and probably end up holding a clipboard if we think things go according to the way it's going to play out?
And by the way, I don't want you to take this personally because I say it all the time too, and so does everyone else. But do backup quarterbacks still hold clipboards?
Right. They don't know. Well, I
feel like that's something from the 90s. But that's what they should be signaling in plays, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. What was he coming to Tallahassee to signal in plays, to be signaling dummy calls?
There we go.
Or hold up. Yeah. So, but I think what he was told is the truth. You're going to come in and have a chance to compete for the job. I don't think that's false. I don't think that's Willie Taggart lying, saying under no circumstances do you have a chance to win this job, but I need some depth, so I'm gonna sugarcoat this. I think the kid has a legitimate. He will compete. I don't. When August starts, it'll be a QB competition. I think James Blackman will win the competition because I think he's a better quarterback. He's been here longer, all that stuff. But I do think that's what you tell the kid. And that's not a lie, but yeah, I don't know where he would go. I've watched this kid play enough. I tweeted a joke about him way back. I can't remember what game it was. I think they had a chance to win the Big Ten championship game over Ohio State a couple years ago, maybe. And I tweeted out that he's playing like he's actually right-handed. I think he's right-handed and doesn't know it with the way he throws because he's a left-handed quarterback and he just throws. It's not real pretty what he does. But I do think – I don't know where he could have gone where he's guaranteed of getting a job. He's not Justin Fields. This kid he was a system quarterback at Wisconsin who was asked not to lose games. But he is not a dude that's going to overwhelm you, number one, with his stats, the way he throws the ball, any of that. So he didn't have a lot. I don't think he had a ton of great options to go and be assured of being a starter unless he went to Wisconsin Green Bay or something. So if they even have a football team. So coming to Florida State, at least he has a shot. You get to be a quarterback at Florida State and all the perks that title probably has in 2019. And you do get a chance to win the job. But I'm more concerned, not concerned, that's the wrong word, intrigued about what they told James Blackman.
Yeah, good point.
You know what I mean? And I feel like they told you, and James Blackman's a grown-up. He's a big guy. He's a big boy. He's been through these before. I'm sure they said, look, man, we don't know if Travis is going to get his waiver, and we need depth because we can't have it like in 2017. I mean, it would be a shot at James Blackman to tell him this, but when our starting quarterback went down, and then all of a sudden the offense couldn't move. We've got to have an option in case you get hurt. Because it happens. And so, I think that's what you tell James Blackman is like, look, he's not coming to replace you. He's coming to compete and to make you better. And perhaps he has a chance to win the job, but that's no guarantee. There's no guarantee he's going to win this job. In fact, we think you're still the guy, but we got to have a backup in place. We got to have a guy here that can provide us some depth.
Yeah.
So all in all, it's okay. You got a guy that started 3 years in the Big Ten. Played in at least one Big Ten championship game, played in an Orange Bowl, won an Orange Bowl. So it's nice to have that, but I don't think, I don't think the plan is for this kid to be the starter. I think Florida State's plan is for hopefully him to be transferring in as a backup, and that James Blackman throws for 4,800 yards and 50 touchdowns.
Get you some. Yeah, I agree. And I was just staying on brand at the beginning of the show. I think it's a good move. It is a guy that's played in significant games, a significant amount of his career, and if the ship goes down, at least there's somebody that's capable behind him. I don't think, and hey, like you said one time, Corey, like you coined that whole phrase a few years back, iron sharpens iron.
Correct.
Just having him on campus, pushes James, because we watched 2 days of practice, and I don't know how much James is paying attention to the guys in front of him when they're taking their reps, but he has to feel pretty good about where he stands right now with what's on the roster. So bringing a guy like that, maybe keep him on his toes. Not that we think he's slacking, but if you want to go down that avenue. Again, they needed a quarterback of consequence to at the very least, push him, at the very most, be a very capable backup. I don't think you're going to get anybody in the transfer market in February, March that's going to come to your campus and be a starter. And again, with the fact that they're going to have to arrive back in June. So I'm cool with it. I'm just not ready to pretend that this is some sort of secret weapon that is going to add 2 wins to the victory total that we thought of when the schedule first came out. Would you like me to read your tweet, Corey, about Alex Hornibrook?
Did you find it?
I found it.
How did you do that?
I searched on Twitter with your handle and just the word Wisconsin. Surprisingly, you've tweeted a whole lot about stuff that has Wisconsin in it.
Okay, well, let's hear what I said about old Hornibrook.
Here we go. Let's go back to December 2nd, 2017, 11:56 p.m. Corey Clark tweets, "The Wisconsin quarterback needs to quit with the jokes and start throwing right-handed."
That's solid right there.
That's good.
He's like doing a Princess Bride thing. Like he's been screwing with people. And now his final year, he's going to show everybody what he can do with his real hand.
Yeah. So there you go. 10 retweets, 69 likes, a triple laughing, crying emoji from one guy.
69 likes?
Yeah.
Only 10 retweets? That's weak, man. That's a solid tweet.
That's 11:56 p.m. on December 2nd as well, too.
True. Good point. Fair point.
Yeah, so we got that. But, yeah, good stuff. Quarterback Alex Hornibrook from Wisconsin is coming to Florida State.
What'd you call him?
Alex Hornibrook?
Oh, I thought you called him Funderburk.
No.
That would be a cooler name.
Not quite. All right, Junior Day also happened. Some recruiting stuff. We're not going to talk about that. Maybe we'll have Michael Langston on later in the week to catch you up on that. The one thing I did notice was that every kid that I interviewed, I never heard of, which is par for the course when it comes to recruiting because I'm not that dialed in. But every kid that I did search on Google, his Rivals.com profile was a 3-star. Somebody posted that was a 3-star convention that got a whole bunch of people upset. So I'm not going to go down that avenue. Let's now go to, are we going like reverse chronological order? So should we go to baseball now since that happened between the Hornibrook announcement and the Hoops team setting the new standard for conference wins at Florida State?
That's right, it did. I was going to say we do the basketball, but that's right. It didn't happen until after the basketball game.
Yeah.
We can do, so you want to do baseball? Yeah, let's do baseball.
Let's do it. Let's go around the park. All
right,
so
you were there. I wanted to ask you. You were there. What was it? Did people like, I was in Clemson when he broke the record, and you could feel it a little bit. I mean, at least the Florida State fans that were there and the players in the dugout knew what was happening, and it was a big deal, and it was treated as such. What was it like at home for 2000? Were people like into it?
Yeah, there was a good buzz. Jeff Puritan, former sports information director here, now part of the athletic administration apparatus at the University of Alabama, even came to town for it. The players, by the way, I need to stop doing I'll just breathe or not say a word. The players jumped over the rail, several of them, and kind of charged at J.C. Flowers after the final out. They were excited for it. There was juice, but there was a real good buzz. There was a palpable buzz. 2,000 wins is incredible. It really is remarkable when you think about it. When they put him on ESPN, I saw him on SportsCenter. When they introduced his name at the bottom, they put the lower third graphic. It said Mike Martin, and it said, first coach to achieve 2,000 victories in NCAA history.
In any sport.
Yeah, in any sport. So, but Dick Halverson, there was a good buzz to it. They actually allowed us to kind of film it, even though we don't have the digital rights as WarChant.com to be filming athletic endeavors of Florida State University live. So I was in the camera well. There was a good buzz to it, man. You could definitely feel it. The crowd obviously stayed throughout the duration of it. They kept shouting at him. The Animals did, "Hey, 11, give us a Knowles cheer," which he eventually did. John Thrasher was there, congratulated him. I was all up in this grill with my camera afterwards. There's a video of it on YouTube. Check it out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. People were stoked. It's and I just did the sorry. That's a remarkable achievement. I don't know how much you could really 2,000 wins after you've already set the record, and I don't know. This cements him that there's no way anyone's ever going to take this record. It's just in this day and age, no one's going to stay somewhere for 40 years and win 40 games. It's not happening.
50 games.
Yeah, 50. I mean, heck, yeah. You did the math better than I did.
He's averaged 50 wins a year.
Yeah. Amazing.
It's incredible. It's nuts. Also, they played more games back in the 80s.
Yeah.
They play I think now they play 54 maybe in the regular season or 56. And back then I feel like they were playing 70 and 80. So he stacked on some, they'd have records where they had 63 wins, but not diminishing at all because those were awesome teams like the 86 team. And it's just, again, I've said it a lot. People that have read my stuff or listened to me on headlines that are, are new to this show, but know me from that. It's such a remarkable level of consistency that I hope is appreciated by Florida State fans. And I know the caveat. I don't even have to say the caveat. I know it. I know the qualifier. I know what he doesn't have. But he's won 2,000 games. And a lot of those were big games. I'm sorry. They weren't the biggest game. They didn't put rings on fingers in Omaha, but all the ACC tournaments he's won, all the time, I know not recent history, all the times he beat Florida, all the regional wins, all the super regional wins. It's really just an incredible accomplishment. And I think what makes it more incredible, really, is that they're still good. They're still relevant. It's not like he's just hanging on, scratching and clawing and trying to just barely get to the end of the finish line at a marathon before he passes out. He's not on his knees crawling to the finish line.
He's not trying to outlive somebody for a record.
Do what?
He's not trying to outlive somebody for a record. He's thriving.
They are still relevant.
Yeah.
They're still relevant nationally. They're still a top 10 team. I think they might have been a top 8 seed last year when they got, 2 and Q'd in their own regional. But the baseball postseason is bizarre. Stuff happens. They were a good team last year. They're a good team this year. But guess what? They're always a good team because it's Florida State baseball. You can't say that about – think of in your head, if you're listening to this, dear listener, think of a college program, any college program in any sport, and think, okay, a team that's always good. Not usually good or mostly good, but always good. Duke one year had a losing record. And I know Krzyzewski was, and this was 20 years ago, but Krzyzewski, when he had his sabbatical for his back, they had a losing record. North Carolina had a losing record this decade.
Yeah.
I think. It might have been the last year before Roy Williams got there, so maybe it was a little earlier than that.
Well, they had the Matt Doherty era.
Yeah, the Matt Doherty era. So, but still, that was 10 years ago, 9 years ago. North Carolina had a losing record. Every big-time sport you can think of almost, except, I don't know, like Stanford polo, Georgia tennis, I don't know, things like that.
LSU gymnastics.
They all have bad seasons or even mediocre seasons. Florida, that just does not happen with Florida State baseball, ever. A mediocre season for them is 42 wins. It's just an impossible display of consistency to not have one bad season, to not have one under 500 season ever, to always be in the top 15 or 20, to always be in the NCAA regionals. Incredible. So, I know you can say he's the best that's ever done it. He's the best that's ever done it for the longest. Nobody's ever been better that did it. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever been this good for this long. I don't know if he's the best college baseball coach of all time. If you want to use rings to judge that, then of course not. The dude at USC from the 60s and 70s won a bunch of them, and Augie Garrido and people like that. But nobody was ever this good for this long, ever, in any sport. So I hope Florida State fans appreciate that, because it's really been unique to cover.
What I tell people, I was out and about on this weekend actually socializing.
Oh, good for you.
I know, you weren't even in town. You're like my conduit to being a human being.
Right, I know.
Especially, in this day and age, my generation, if you will, no one stays in the same place for long. Career advancement needs to happen immediately, rapidly, and often. You're somewhere for 3 years, and then you're off the next place, and then you're off the next place. My mom has been a nurse at the same place for close to 30 years now, I want to say. Just this guy, literally his life's work has been at Florida State coaching this baseball team. And he has, taken the team to the tournament every single year. He's hosted, it feels like every single year practically. He's taken them to the Super. He's taken them to Omaha. He's taken them to the championship game. It's his life's work, and he has that caveat. He's never won it all. I don't know how much of this, the way you talked about it, no one's ever been this good for this long in anything. That's got to matter for something. It just goes back to the fact, I'll take it, man. I'll take a 7-win season in football. I'll take 6 and we can lose in the bowl game just so I can get my cool jacket out of it. Let him win. The last game that's played in college baseball in the NCAA tournament in Omaha this year, let Florida State be in it. Please, let him be the guy that wins. Please.
Yeah, life doesn't normally work out like that, so I'm not expecting that, but that would be awesome. But either way, I hope it ends in Omaha for him, win or lose. Yeah. It would be really neat for him to get back to Omaha. But, it would also, I'm not going to lie, it would be bittersweet, but if his last game was in Hauser and he got to have a send-off in front of all the animals and all the fans, win or lose, he could come out and do I know he wouldn't feel good because it's a loss, but to come out and wave his cap and thank everyone, it would, you don't want it to go out like that, but that's how life is, man. They don't all get the Bobby Bowden moments where they beat Noel Devine in Jacksonville. But yeah, that would be awesome. I think all Florida State fans, I hope, would want one of those for him. It's the only thing that's missing. I will say this. He wouldn't, if they did happen to win the last game in June, I don't think that makes him any better coach than he is right now, today. It would just make him a more accomplished coach. But he's already proven that he's one of the all-time greats. And he has set a record that will never be broken, ever. Like you said, nobody's going to go to a school. Nobody coaches anything for 40 years anymore.
Nobody does anything for 40 years anymore, Corey. Nobody bags groceries. Hopefully you're not bagging groceries for 40 years. But, yeah, no one's like an accountant at the same firm for 40 years. Even their namesake. They probably retire at some point after year 32. It's incredible.
Man, Leonard Hamilton has been at Florida State for a long time. A long time. I think he was there before 9/11, right? Or right after? I mean, I know that's a weird gauge to judge.
Come on,
well, not really. It's a seminal moment in our history. But right around there, and he's still trailing Martin by more than 2 decades. I mean, it is just it's really kind of unfathomable. It's hard to even fathom being in a place for 40 years and being so good and all the things he's seen and all the time. Just really, really remarkable. So let's all hope that it ends in Omaha with a title. If not, how about beating Florida once?
Oh, you had to go that way.
Well, I say that because they're playing them this week.
Right. 2002, 2003 was Leonard's first season at Florida State.
So right after 9/11.
Well, significantly after 9/11, probably.
I mean, come on, a year or so, maybe not significant.
Are you with me? Will you take 6 and 7 if it means a national championship in baseball?
I would take 0-12 if it meant a national championship. Absolutely.
Bold.
I know I'm in the minority there, but absolutely I would take I would take that.
Well, let's we gave them 5 and 7 last year. We'll give them 6 and 7
I would
as
lose
well.
a finger.
Just a tip.
I would donate a finger, definitely a toe, but probably even a finger for not an important one, not a thumb, or I don't know which one, like the fourth one maybe.
They're all important. They're all important until you lose one of them. Like if you jam one of your fingers,
you don't need the ring finger, do you? What do you
listen,
need that for, really?
Once you lose function of one of your, if you have like an achy forearm, you're like, who cares about my forearm muscle? And then you start noticing what it does. Yeah, same thing like your ring finger. If you don't have that, then you'll realize, like, I don't know, carrying stuff or brushing your teeth is going to feel really weird.
Sure, it'll feel weird, but I think you could adjust. I could adjust and hopefully live another 40 years of my life without my left-handed, the ring finger on my left hand, if, fittingly, Mike Martin gets that ring to put on his left hand. I would donate my finger.
All right, there we go. Perfect.
I guarantee you no other podcast host is saying that.
I just want, man, can I just be a little kid and believe in stuff again? Like, can Aslan just be happy and positive and uplifting? That's what I want to see. It would just warm the black morass that's in the thorax of myself if he wins it. It would bring me great joy. I might be more excited than him if he were to win it. I assure you. That sounds ridiculous.
Man, if I'm in Omaha when they win, I'm getting on the dog pile.
Oh, hell yeah. Damn right.
We're all running out there.
All right, but before we get to Omaha, we'll be in Minneapolis cutting down some nets probably.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State, what is 15? How many conference wins? 13? What?
13-5 after starting 1-4.
Man, it's perfect. I'm glad they lost to North Carolina. I don't want to be one of those teams that's won, although they probably would fall in Charlotte. I don't want to be one of those teams that's won 14 in a row going into the tournament. I don't want to play the Tony Dungy card and I lose in week 17, so I don't have that hanging over my team, and then we choke in the first round of the playoffs. But I'm glad they got that off their back. They're peaking, man. We're soaring. We're at the right place at the right time right now, Corey. Feel real good. Feel real hot. But again, let's talk about the historical, significance of that. 13 conference wins in the ACC, the most for this program in its history. Is Leonard Hamilton has to be the coach of the year. He's not going to be, but we should stump for him, and anybody who doesn't vote for him, we should ridicule them until he cuts down the nets in Minneapolis.
Can't do it, because here's the thing. I ridiculed everyone that voted for David Cutcliffe for coach of the year when Jimbo Fisher put together one of the all-time teams in college football history. So I don't know why Leonard Hamilton would be coach of the year when Tony Bennett's team was the number one seed and is like 29-3, or when North Carolina's done what North Carolina's done. You know what I mean? Like I just wouldn't, if I had a vote, and I wouldn't vote for Leonard Hamilton because they were supposed to be good, number one. But also what these Coach of the Year awards are, and we make fun of it all the time, is like they're for exceeding expectations as opposed to the guy that put together the best team. And as good as Leonard's done this year, and nobody's a bigger fan of Leonard Hamilton than I am, you can't say he's done a better job than Tony Bennett or Roy Williams. Now, Roy Williams specifically has some more advantages at his school than Leonard Hamilton does, obviously. But Jimbo Fisher has more advantages than David Cutcliffe. And I ridiculed people that voted for David Cutcliffe or Paul Johnson instead of Dabo Swinney. Is it Swinney? That's weird.
Sweeney, yeah.
So that's all. I get what you're saying. He's not going to win it. I think Roy Williams will probably win it, and I don't have a problem with that. The North Carolina has been awesome, and I mean they're not loaded with surefire NBA first round. They're not loaded with 3 lottery picks like Duke is, although only 2's playing. I just think what they've done, how good they were the last, really since January, it's been pretty remarkable. And then what Tony Bennett does is always insane.
All right, whatever, you win. Anywho, 13-5.
Sorry, you know what I mean, though? I just feel like it'd be hypocritical if I gave voters grief for not voting Leonard Hamilton when I gave them so much grief for not voting for Jimbo Fisher.
It's just par for the course, though. Like Virginia's now, they're at that level now where they're always going to be competing for a 1 seed. I mean, North Carolina.
Yeah, but he should get credit for that, right?
Well, is it a lifetime achievement award or is it Coach of the Year?
Well, no, I mean his team is like 16-2 in the conference. I'm not saying you know what I mean? Like it's not like Virginia our whole lives has been this blue blood, and recruiting counts. And he put together a team that went 16-2 and 29-3 or whatever. Just like Roy Williams should get credit for recruiting and developing players. It's all part of it, not just exceeding the expectations that the media had for you at the beginning of the season.
All right. I was at Hauser when the game was going on against Wake Forest up in Winston-Salem on Saturday, but you were able to watch it. Slow start, but strong finish. What did I miss? What do I need to know? Fill me in.
Yeah, it was a pretty ugly game, really, for about every step of the way, except about an 8-minute stretch maybe a 6-minute stretch where they went on an 18-0 run and put the game away. They got down 14-2. It was really gross. The starters in the first half, Kumaji had 8 points. The other 4 starters combined had 0, which is incredible, really. And then in the second half, those same 4 starters combined for 34 points. So it worked out. They ended up playing well in the second half, but you got to think against better teams when it matters, you're going to need your starters to go all have donuts in the first half against a good team. But I thought their defense wasn't good to start out with. Wake hit not really. No, Wake hit some crazy shots to start the game, and then Florida State's defense was Florida State's defense. They were all over the court, harassing them, and just played really well. It was another. On defense, they played really well. It was another typical junkyard dog type style of game because the team was not hitting at all offensively. And, again, another deal where they can find ways to beat you. You'll want to avoid slow starts maybe a little bit moving forward. But another road win where that's 5 road wins this year, and I think all 5 they had double-digit leads in the final 4 or 5 minutes of the game, like 15-point leads. It's just been remarkable. They play better on the road. I feel like they play better on the road other than the North Carolina game since January since mid-January than they have at home. At home, they're always down. It's always a close game. It's nip and tuck. It's down to the wire. On the road, and some of it is opponent. On the road, they're always comfortably ahead at the end of the game and just running out clock. But, yeah, good game. I'll say it again. Trent Forrest played well, played hard, was a difference maker. But holy moly, if he was 100%, this team would be so dangerous. Same with Kofor. But again, when you go back to Leonard Hamilton and how good a job he's done, I didn't want to dismiss what a good job he's done because he's done that coaching staff has done a remarkable job with Forrest and Kofor, 2 of your best players, hobbled really through the whole ACC season, and you still set a school record for wins. You have 13 wins. You incorporate all these different players in the lineup kind of seamlessly where they all love their role. I don't know if they love their role, but they certainly don't complain about their role. And it's just what he's managing the personalities of a basketball team and all the egos that can be on a basketball team to have them all play so selflessly. Again, is just it's kind of what the DNA of this program is now. If you're coming to Florida State, sorry, Anthony Edwards, if you're coming to Florida State, you're going to have to be selfless because that's what they preach. You're not going to play 38 minutes a game, and you need to cheer for your teammates because they're going to be playing a lot. And it's really kind of remarkable what he's done. I've said remarkable a lot, but the last 3 years, how this program has turned around, and they're fun to watch and they're fun to cheer for because they cheer for each other. So good for them. They'll never be able to take that away from them. A school record for wins until next year when they win 15 games.
Boom. I was thinking about, we'll hopefully be able to go watch them in the opening weekend because that'll fall on spring break, which Willie and the football team will have off. So hopefully you and I will reunite and watch the team get through and make it to the second week of the tournament.
Well, if they're in Jacksonville, right? Like, Daddy's not flying anywhere.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll be in Jacksonville.
And you did a really good interview with Stan Jones last year in Nashville. I want to ask him a strategy question. I don't even know if you want to throw your hat into it. I know I joke about it with you sometimes when we're on press row and you kind of roll your eyes at me. I don't know if it's the right metaphor. Willie wants to be a run-first team and then throw the ball, but it felt like they had to throw the ball last year because they couldn't run the ball at all to maybe open something up. Can you go to Kumaji? Can you start the offense? Can you game plan as Florida State that we're going to throw it inside to Chris, or we're going to roll screen? We're going to run screen and roll with Chris and try to lob it up to him, and I don't know, get their big guy in foul trouble, or hopefully get some quick easy points, or that'll make their defense sag, and then if we can get Nichols hot early or MJ's feeling it early, we can get it going on. I know it seems crazy because his hands are suspect at times. He doesn't finish 100% at the rim. But when they try to get him incorporated in that sort of way, good things tend to happen. And I just don't know if that's just like, if that's a gimmick, if that's not something it's not something you can base a run on in the entire month of March, but maybe a game or two to kickstart things, because it feels like that. I don't know how much of it was him throwing down lobs or how much is him crashing the boards, but like when he gets a good start for that team, I feel like it's a bonus because they don't count on his production. So if they get a good start out of him, that puts them ahead of the 8 ball to a great deal, to a great extent, I feel like.
Yeah, but again, he's your 5th best player offensively in your starting lineup. So I don't know that you want to give your number 5 option a bunch of touches in an important game to start the game. They do always, I think it's to keep him involved, but they do always try to find a way to get him a couple post touches for sure. They do that a lot. Every game, it seems like they start with a couple throws into the post, but he doesn't really deliver a lot when you throw it to him in the post. He delivers when you throw it up by the rim.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to advocate on.
Yeah, doing that is one thing. Just feeding it to him in the post where he's going to do a turnaround hook.
No.
That's not good basketball for Florida State by and large. It works occasionally, and maybe it'll work against a 13 seed whose tallest guy is 6'7". Like, try that a couple of times. The problem is, and this is a more of a philosophical point about basketball as a whole. So he's 7'4". So when a 6'8" guy is guarding somebody that's 7'4", the officials, rightly or wrongly, feel bad for the guy that's 6'8".
Yeah.
So they will let that dude straight up put 2 elbows into Kumaji's back and push him out of the paint, which by any definition in basketball history is a foul. But because my man is 7'4", they are not feeling bad for you, man. You need to make that anyway. So he gets rooted out of the paint a lot, even though he's enormous height-wise. So anyway, I think I'm going to be interested to see when the games really matter, when it's one and done, and they're going home if they don't win, depending on the matchup, how quickly Kabengele comes into the game. Because be honest with you, Kumaji was better than Kabengele on Saturday. He was a bigger deal. He was a bigger asset. He had more. I think he had as many points and more rebounds. He dominates Wake Forest somehow. I don't know what the heck's going on there, but he kills those guys.
Yeah.
And he had 8 points. He kept them kind of in the game in the first half with those 8 points. Kabengele wasn't really all that good at all offensively, but when it matters, I just think Kabengele's a guy they're going to try to get in the game as quickly as possible when the season is on the line. But yeah, man, when they get Kumaji involved early, it always does seem to work out for them, doesn't it? I don't think it's about getting teams in foul trouble, but it's almost like getting, like you said, I think like getting bonus points.
Yeah.
Like it's 8 points that maybe you didn't think you were going to have. And then when you combine that with what the dude off the bench is doing, well, now all of a sudden your center position has combined for like 19 points and 17 rebounds and 5 blocks. It's like, well, good grief. That's incredible production for the center position. So, yeah, Kumaji got a lot of beef earlier in the season because Kabengele was so good, and people rightly wondered, why isn't our best player starting? This guy is so much better than Kumaji, but Kumaji has a role on this team, and he's filled it up. He's filled it really well now for the last few weeks, really rebounding well and blocking shots, but really rebounding well defensively. He's been a big difference maker. So, again, they've got at least one game in the ACC tournament, and then 4 games until they get to Minneapolis. That's all.
Let's figure it out.
And I was wondering, like, do they even want to win? Like, I know they want to beat Virginia Tech, Sure, you never want to lose. You would never play to lose. But if you beat Virginia Tech, do you know who so they play Virginia Tech? Probably. We don't know yet. Virginia Tech's got to play either Miami, Wake Forest. We assume they win that game, and if they do, Florida State plays them Thursday at 2:30 in the quarterfinals. And if Florida State wins and beats Virginia Tech again, do you know who they play, Aslan?
Virginia?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So do you really want to beat Virginia? I mean, let me put it this way. Would it crush you if you lost to Virginia Tech?
No. This is one of those true nothing to gain games for them. They're not going to move a seed lineup if they win it. They're not going to lose. They're not going to move up a seed line if they win. If they lose, they're not going to move down a seed line. They're not going to feel any worse about themselves. I am excited about the fact that they have this long time to rest, though. Hopefully that gets Trent closer to 100.
That was what I was getting my point at, is that you would get, instead of like, and now if you beat Virginia, then all of a sudden you do move up a seed line. Now you've got a enormous win under your belt. You were already probably going to be a 4 seed. I would imagine beating the number 1 team in the country, or whatever they're ranked, close to that, pushes you to the number 3 seed. And then you do move up a seed line. But if you lose to Virginia, then you'll have just played 2 games in 2 days and haven't really affected your status at all. And you really need to get some guys healthy. That said, they're never going to try to lose. They're never going to go out not to win a game. They're going to try their hardest to win it. And, Virginia is beatable. I just don't want to watch them play Virginia again. I don't. I mean, I do get paid to do it, but I don't know how anybody else would watch Virginia that doesn't get paid to do it. Yeah. And they're awesome. They're really well coached. I was just making the point that the guy should be the coach of the year, but yeesh.
Also, before we go, shout out to the Lady Knowles softball team. They took down Arizona 4-3 on Sunday, so they won that series. They won the game on Friday. They actually got run ruled on Saturday. They came back on Sunday and won. So they're now 25-2 on the season. They are ranked number 1. Do you know they lost to some team called Grand Canyon last week?
I did. I saw that. They lost, and then it was a doubleheader. They lost the first one, and then I think run ruled them in the second one. But, yeah, isn't Grand Canyon like an online university or a for-profit university?
It sounds like one of them, but surely this isn't the same one.
I think so, right? I think it might be. And, I mean, all colleges are really for-profit these days, but like one of those where you like what am I thinking? Like a Phoenix.
Yeah. No, I
think there's something. I think they're like that. I could be completely wrong, and I'm way too lazy and tired to look it up.
There was a commercial for a Grand Canyon University, but I feel like there's no way it can be the same one, but maybe it is.
Have you ever been to the Grand Canyon?
I have not.
What's the matter with you, man?
What does that mean, man?
That's one of our nature's wonders.
All right, I'll put on the list. When we go to Omaha, maybe we'll take a detour.
Make a trip from Omaha to Vegas, and then from Vegas to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, my buddy, who's a lawyer, came to visit me when I live in Montana, and actually he did like a West Coast trip. Him and his buddy flew in from Tampa to the Grand Canyon, then they went up the West Coast in California, then they came to Montana. But he like scaled, like he walked all the way up to the top of the Grand Canyon in the same clothes that he flew in on. And I'm like, is that safe? I think he said he almost got so hungry that he almost ate a half-eaten apple on the ground, but he decided to tough it out and not do it.
Oh, well, that was smart.
Yeah.
Because it might have been eaten by a donkey.
Who knows?
On those Grand Canyon trails, there's just nothing but donkeys.
Google says on July 2nd, 2018, Grand Canyon University regains its nonprofit status.
Oh, okay. All right. I see you, Grand Canyon. My bad.
Yeah. But no, there's been commercials for sure, man. I know what you're talking about.
Well, either way, Florida State split with them and then beat Arizona 2 out of 3, so that makes it a pretty successful road trip. They weren't going to go undefeated. Might as well get a loss or 2 early. But good. It was. They're not going to get a ton of great quality competition. The softball team, in the ACC. So it was smart to go out and schedule some good teams on the West Coast.
What do you want me to ask Willie after practice today?
Ask him if he thinks Hornibrook is really right-handed.
Okay. He's Corey Maslow. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch up with y'all later.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.